I'm pretty sure most of you guys have already heard the horrible story about the poor babies that were found in the suitcases up in Cleveland. If you get a chance and you haven't heard of it, please look into the story. I want to talk about it, but not talk about just the whole investigation. I feel like it's a lot of people that have already covered it, but I want to talk about something else about it. Because what this case does is highlights the never ending injustice when it comes to the system, when it comes to the CPS system, when it comes to multiple different systems failing these poor kids. Because, of course, one of the most common questions are, where was the family? Where was the dads? Where was anybody around? What do you mean these girls have been missing for years? And basically nothing was done about it. So let's talk about that. So this is the conversation that I really wanted to show you guys. And what I'm assuming is that this is the conversation between one of the children's father and a community member. What the father is allegedly saying is that he has been calling CPS, calling court systems, just trying to make contact for 3 years, but they shut him down. They kept saying because they didn't have an address, there wasn't much they can do. And of course, what the father is basically saying is that he tried to get custody on multiple occasions. Too many red flags. That's why the mom ended up disappearing. She ran away and basically took the child away too, allegedly, according to the father. So do what you will with that information. You can pause to read if you want to read it word for word. Allegedly, what the father said is the reason why he wasn't involved. And the reason why I really wanted to bring up this conversation is because as somebody who has worked very closely with different court systems and different CPS systems and just seeing what the fuck be going on, we all know Ohio's very much a pro-mom state. But these moms be fucking up too. And it's always interesting to me when it's always dads that are active or dads that are really trying to fight to get custody. And you always hear the bullshit ass excuse, or I mean, I'd say all, but most be like, well, you know, kids should be with their mom. No, kids should be with the parent that fucking fits and the parent that can actually help. What do you mean? And this is the biggest issue that I also have with CPS. And I've been saying this for years. Too much gray area. Social work field in general, way too much gray area. And they're like, well, everything's case by case, situation by situation. No, it's up to the fucking social worker and their supervisor on how they're feeling that day and what they think is grounds for, hey, let's take this fucking kid out. Because as somebody who has, like I said, worked closely with the system, I know what the fuck they be thinking. Like, of course, me in my role, I can't give recommendations. All I can do is report the facts of it. But typically, I'm like, okay, sometimes kids don't need to be with their mother. Like, I'm literally looking at it at a straight factual base. This mother is not fit. Or even cases where I see where certain kids are taken out the home, but the other ones are not. And granted, it's not an unruly teenager getting into it with mom, so they're gonna pull that teenager out, but leave the rest of the kids. And not incidents like that. I'm talking about incidents where it's like full on abuse and neglect going for this one child, and they'd be like, "Well, we're just gonna plot the one child. We're not gonna take out the other ones because we don't have cases against them." And I used to be like, "What?" And that is one of the hardest parts about working with the system like that because you see so many just fucked up ass incidents, and you'd be like, "What is it gonna take? Like, what is it gonna take for y'all to pull this kid out?" And of course, the same excuses. Well, we ain't got nowhere to put him. We don't know what we're gonna do, so we want to keep the family together. That's our that's their main motto. We want to keep the family together. We want to keep the family together. So you lead a kid in a horrible ass situation out of the sake of keeping the family together. Of course, it's gonna be traumatizing either way. You're either gonna stay here in the situation and be traumatized, or you're gonna go with a stranger and you could potentially be traumatized. Either way, I'd rather take the other route. I'd rather pull them and see what the fuck happens. But of course, I don't work in CPS for a reason, and that's part of the reason why I'm like, no. But I am a mandated reporter, and anytime I see something, definitely gonna call CPS, definitely gonna file that report, definitely gonna put that in. So why? Not only just to cover me, but to make sure that this child knows I've done everything that I can in my power.